Good evening everyone and welcome to SoccerMod. Today I'm going to show you how to create international teams using the methods that we have been using already and using the tools available on the SoccerMod website. Now, I'll let you know that I've already added Brazil into the game and I'm now looking for another team to put in the game. So I'm just going to go to my comp data just to explain why I'm doing this. And yes, if you go to the tasks table, now you won't see this on the side. I've put this here for working out so I can see what's going on. Now I can see at the moment there are 30 teams in international. There's 30 rows here where it's filling the World Cup tournament with teams. I would like to expand that to 32 just to make it a bit more authentic. And I think that's a good starting point rather than just saying I'm going to add every international team in the world into the game. I think it's a good idea to get this up to 32 first and we'll expand the tournament. Then we'll sort of branch out and do a bit more. Now I've added Brazil already to give me an extra team from CONMEBOL region, and if I count these up, this means I've counted here, I've got 23 teams from UEFA that are currently in the game. Now this means there are 7 from the other regions. So now that I've added Brazil, I've still got 23 from UEFA, but I've got 8 from the rest of the world. And what my plan is, the way that I want my World Cup to work, for the time being only, is to have 3 teams in each group from UEFA and 1 team from the rest of the world. So I'm going to have 8 groups in total in the World Cup. Each group is going to have 3 teams from UEFA and 1 team from the rest of the world. And I think that's a good way to sort of branch it out to start with. So I've obviously added Brazil already in the background before this tutorial started. I'm now going to add another UEFA team to bring me up to 24. Another reason for that is the European Championship is in this game, but it only contains 16 teams. So I think it'd be good if I could make it authentic and have 24. So 1 more team from UEFA is going to bring me up to that magic 24 as well. So that's why I've chosen to pick a team from UEFA. Now the other thing that I've got to bear in mind is the team that I choose to put into the game, I need to make sure I've got enough players in the game already so that I can create this international team. Now that means that you need a minimum of 23 players. I would suggest you try to aim for a team that's got around 50 players at least in the game. And the reason for that is if you've only got 23 and there are any injuries or anything like that, the game will just award the other team the result. It'll say the other team does not have enough players and it'll give them a 3-0 whitewash. I think 50 is a good amount because it gives you a number of positions. So, for example, you could have, say, 28, but then have 17 goalkeepers. That's not going to work. The career mode won't know what to do with 17 goalkeepers for an international team. It tries to pick sort of 3 at most, and then get the other positions according to what it needs. So a certain number of defenders, a certain number of midfielders, certain number of attackers. If you have a lot from one position, that's going to cause a problem in career mode because it's going to try and pick the international team and it's going to say there's not enough players in the database. So we need to be aware of that. So to start with, what I'm going to do is pick a team that's quite clearly got enough. The team that I've chosen is actually Switzerland. And you can add, I would add 2 for now, and we'll expand that World Cup, and then we can look at expanding it even further, and we'll make qualifiers and things like that later. But for now, what we need is we need to know what team ID to use. One thing I'm going to show you quickly for Brazil, and I suspect it might be the same for some other teams, so we'll have to work this out as we go. For Brazil, the team ID used to be 1370. Now I've tried it with that, and I know that FIFA recently removed Brazil from their games. I think they've also blocked the ID from working because I couldn't get it to work with 1370. So I've had to use this 11370, which is not currently in use. So there might be a few other situations where that's the same. I suspect Russia might be the same, but I haven't tested it yet. So if I don't get to it, then and you do first, then let me know if you had problems with it, and we can give them a new ID. Okay, so I'm looking for Switzerland on the SoccerMod website here. And if I scroll down the bottom, we've got international teams here, and we've got the ID. So look for the gender M, which is the men's. W for the women's is there. We want the men's, so we pick 1364. So that is our ID for the team. So I want you to click on this button here that says Tools, go on National Team, and here put Team ID 1364. 1364. Okay. This will refresh on the side. Just ignore that for now because we've got to enter a lot more information. But this is the template for what you're going to use. We need the nation ID for Switzerland. So we can get that from our database. If we go to the nations table and we look for Switzerland, this row here, nation ID is 47. So we go back and we change that to 47. Now, it'll ask you to pick a formation. What I like to do is go to Transfer Market and get an idea of what their typical formation looks like. So I've gone to Transfer Market and I've selected Switzerland here and click these arrows. And if I go down, we should have the Swiss national team. Sorry, I think I need to actually do it on the search bar, don't I? Search for Switzerland. Yes, here we go. International friendlies, this one. And it will show you, not only has it got their squad, which you might want to use, but it's got their starting lineup and what their formation looks like. You can actually go into fixtures, and you can go to all the most recent fixtures. You can choose any of these matches that they've had, and you'll be able to see a specific formation for them, things like that. 3-5-2. Yeah, so they tend to use 3-5-2, I would say. So I'm going to use that. So if I go back to the formation builder here, and if I click on 3-5-2, that's the one we're going to use. Now notice this first line up at the top, and what I'll try and tidy this up at some point when we've got a bit more time to make it look nicer, but it works at the moment, so I'm happy enough with that. We look here at the positions that are available. So this will tell us, so if you change that formation to something else, you'll notice the positions change. That tells you what positions it is using. So 3-5-2, I'm going to need a goalkeeper, 3 centre-backs, and then some midfielders, 2 strikers. That's the way that one's going to look. So this is where you fill in the player IDs, and the best way I find to do it is if we go back to our workbook, and in our players table, These are the players that are currently in our game, so we can guarantee that these ones are actually in our game. Now the nation ID was 47, so in my workbook I've highlighted the nationality column, and I'm going to click on sort and filter, and I'm going to filter. I'm going to click on here and filter this here to 47. Just make sure to unclick this, otherwise you'll get nation 147 as well. There you go. I'm going to go across to gender, because I also want to filter that. Okay, make sure that's 0, so it's only the male players. That keeps changing. There we go. 47. Gender, make sure that stays at 0, click OK. Scroll along to preferred position next, and that needs to be 0. Now you'll get used to this eventually, but you need to know your positions quite well. I might try and put a guide somewhere. I'll put it in the comments of this video as well, of what each of these position numbers mean. But basically, 0 is a goalkeeper, 2 and 3 are right wing back, right back, 5 is a centre back, 7 is a left back, and so on. So yeah, so 10's midfielders, 21. You will learn these off by heart as you go. But for the moment, we need to filter this so that we're only getting 0. Meaning we are only getting the goalkeepers from Switzerland who are male. So 0 is a goalkeeper. Now over here you'll see this column, overall rating. Now you're going to have to be careful here because there are obviously teams with legends in the game. So another website that can come in useful is the FIFA website. So if I take this player for example, he's got an 84 rating and this is his player ID. And I can go to the FIFA website and you just want to use this link and paste on the player ID at the end. So I can see this one is Jan Sommer. Now I know he's not a legend, he is actually a player who I would expect to be in our game, so that is good. We can use his ID, so we can copy that and we want to go back to the SoccerMod website and we want to paste in the player ID 1. The first one represents this, the goalkeeper here. I want some other goalkeepers, and if I go down here I've got substitutions, so I want another couple of goalkeepers for my bench. Now you can filter this overall rating as long as you remember to unfilter it afterwards. There's another player here who's 87. I'll copy that and go back to FIFA. It's another one, Corbell, so I'd expect him to be in our game as well, so that's good. Can use him. And this time I put him in the sub 1 position, which is the goalkeeper who I want on my bench. Now if you have, and this is where it gets a bit more complicated, but if you have 5 substitutes on your bench, you're going to want to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those 5 are going to be on your bench. If you have 7, those 7 are going to be on your bench. So obviously if I pick a third goalkeeper, I don't want him to be in that first 7. I want him to sort of almost be on the reserve pile in position 8. So go back, I've already got those 2, so this is my other keeper. And obviously check each one that you're doing in FIFA. I'm just going to quickly go through them to save time on this episode, but you can check them individually. Afterwards, yeah, we don't want to do that. We remember to remove that filter from overall rating, and this is all our goalkeepers again. We're now looking for the next position, which is a right centre back. Okay. Now the other thing to remember, and what I'm actually going to do first, is if I go to preferred position, I click on here, remove the goalkeeper, and I change it to 2 and 3. So these are, 2 is a right wing back, 3 is a right back. Okay. And like I say, I'll put these in the comments so you can see what each position is, in case you don't know. And if I scroll back across, I've got a new list of player IDs here, and my overall ratings are here, so I can see who's the best. I'm just going to filter this, so I just get the best few here. Okay, there's a bit of choice in the 70s, so I'm going to choose this player here. And because my squad doesn't necessarily need a right back, in my first 11, sorry, I can just put the a right back on the bench, just in case they want to change formation. But I'm not going to put them in my first team. Okay. And what you're basically doing is just going through and doing this for each position. Now, the next one, I'll just get rid of that filter each time, overall rating, to make sure you get them all. And I'm going to change this now to 5. Actually, I'm going to do 7 first, and this is just personal preference. You can do it in whatever order you want. I'm going to do it in 7 because that's left backs, and I know there's also no left backs in the first 11. So this is going to be bench players. And I'm going to choose best overall rating. So this player here. I'm only going to choose 1, I think, for left back. I don't think they need more than that. I'm going to put him on the bench in case they want to change formation. Now, I'm going to remove that overall rating. Oh, we didn't have one. I'm going to go back to preferred position, and I'm going to change this to 5, which is centre back. Now I know that we need some centre backs because we need right centre back, and left centre back. So I know that we need at least 3 of these, and then we probably want some on the bench as well. I'm going to filter that overall rating to just give me the best players. And remember to check these in FIFA, because if you've got legend squads in the game, so for example Brazil, it will flag up with people like Ronaldo, Ronaldinho. You don't want them, so make sure to do that. You've got these 3 players here. And 77, there we go. Okay, so they're the best 3, and then we've got these 2 who I'm going to put on the bench, both of them actually, because I think Switzerland like to have quite a few defenders available. So it's just personal preference how you want to do that on the bench and the reserves, but as long as you're meeting these squad requirements up here for the actual first 11, we've got defensive midfielders, so 2 defensive midfielders. So I'm going to go over here. For this position, let's just select all for now, because I think I've got a filter on the overall rating still. Yeah, just take that off. Go over to preferred position again. And 10 is defensive midfielders. So they've got a few available. I don't really think I need to filter these down because I can see it quite easily. So I'm just going to pick that one. And that one there. There's nobody else who's ridiculously high, so I think I'm just going to keep that as is. They're going to need a right midfielder and a left midfielder. Okay, if you go over here, preferred positions. So a right midfielder is 12. 23 is sort of like a right wing midfielder, so we could put them in, but I'm just going to pick 12 for now. It's your choice what you want to do there. And they've got a couple here, so these 76s look quite good, so I'm going to copy that one. I'm going to have this one here as the backup on the bench. Okay. If we got preferred position again, if we go to 16, which is left, and do the same thing here, there's only one that really stands out. This is 74. There we go. So the next thing, I know that they don't have any in the first 11, but I think it would be good if they had some midfielders at least available in case I want to change formation. It's quite a lot of midfielders available, so I'm going to cut this overall rating down a bit. Maybe a bit less. No, I think 3 is going to be enough for us. 82, that's quite high, so I'm going to select that one, and I'm going to go to SoFIFA to see who that is. It's Granit Xhaka. Now, Granit Xhaka, I believe, is the captain, so I definitely want him in the starting lineup. So I'm going to go back into here, and what I'll do is I'll put him in either 6 or 7. I'm just going to put him in there, and I'm going to cut this player out, move them to the bench, or actually to the reserves, to make sure that Xhaka is in there, because I know he's the captain. I want him to be on the pitch. It might take a bit of working out which players you actually want. Change this as you go. I'm just going to put these two in. And then we're looking at some more attacking players. So I'm going to take that filter back off. Go back to preferred position. And I'm going to select, that's a central attacking midfielder. 18, I believe. I'm just going to see if there's anybody here who's worth putting in. Maybe that one. I haven't got many spaces left to put somebody, but they do have a central attacking midfielder in their first 11, so you've got it, that space. And then I'm going to look for strikers and forwards, so let's remove that. Go back to preferred position, and this time make sure I select any of these top. So 27 is like a left winger, 23 is a right winger, 25 tends to be actual strikers. This is a forward, I believe, so I'll put those positions in so you can see them easier, but just for now, to make this tutorial a bit quicker, we're just going to select. We only need 3, I think, to finish our team. So we've got overall rating here. This player is obviously the best striker they've got, so put him in. Put that one there. And we've got one more for this substitute spot. I'll go for you. There we go. Now down here, you've got your right free kick takers. These are all the roles of the team. So they need to ideally be from your first 11. Now you can fill these in individually. For now, what I'm going to do, obviously one of the easier things you can do as well, once you've got all these IDs worked out, is just put them in an Excel spreadsheet somewhere. So you've got the player ID, and then just right next to them, or you can even do it on a bit of paper. Just write down the ID and who each player is, so that you know. Now, Granit Xhaka was that ID, and I'm just going to give that role, because I know he's captain, tends to be penalty taker. I'm just going to give him all of the roles for quickness. So go down here, and I'm just going to say here's all of these roles. There you go. And I've made sure that everything is filled in here. So now what I want to be doing is going over to this side here, and yes, it does look a bit of a mess. We'll try and tidy it up when we've got time on the website. But I need the team, so you want to copy that. Then you want to go to the workbook, and you want to paste it in. And you want to do this for each of these. So this one's Team Nation link. This one's Team Stadium link. Stadium assignment. And don't worry about these, you can change these later to suit what you want. League team link. I know people have said, can we have the official stadiums, official managers and things like that? Yes, but it takes a lot of time. So what I would suggest for now is we just make the teams, and then when we've got a bit more time, I can show you how to customize these, and I'll put a tool on the website so that you can customize your teams a bit better. Formations. This is the formation ID here, so remember to grab that and scroll down. In case you missed that as well on League Team Links, same sort of thing. This is the artificial key, so make sure you scroll that down because it's got to be unique. Default team sheets, copy that, paste that in. That is just by team ID, that one. Default team data. Default mentalities. Remember, default mentalities, you need 2 blank rows, and then you put this on that third row. So you need 2 above and 2 below. So copy these 2 rows, paste them above the line that you've pasted in, and then paste them below the line that you've pasted in. Remember to go along to this column, which is the mentality ID, and scroll down. Make sure that's in order. Copy team player links. And paste that in here. This is the artificial key ID column, so make sure you scroll down on that. Copy this line here, which is team kits, and paste that in here. And this is the kit ID, so make sure you scroll down on that. And that should be everything. So the next thing you want to do is in Notepad++, go to the folder where you save all of your tables to. I've just put that in my SoccerMod directory, and open them all. And then you're going through the ones that you've updated. So we have updated teams. So we need to go in here, find teams, delete all of it and paste in that table. League team links, yes, we've made a league team link, so we're copying that and we're pasting everything back in here. don't get into the trick of just copying it from the website and pasting it into those notepad files. It's good practice to do it in the workbook, because you will hit a problem later on where you haven't done that and everything will be out of sync and you will struggle to fix everything. Also, imagine if you did it without players and then you couldn't find them for generating these teams. Now, managers, we are going to need a manager, but you don't get it directly from the website yet. There's going to be a manager pool available eventually, but it's not there yet. So just get the last line for now, just drag it down and put in the team ID that we use. 1364 we did for Switzerland. Okay. Just give it a high reference number on here for now. We can come back and fix that later. Managers don't necessarily need to be unique, so a manager can manage more than one team at a time. This isn't ideal for now, but I'd rather show you how to create international teams than managers at the moment. So we won't worry too much about that one. That ID there is the head asset ID. I don't think this matters at the moment because we're not really using this manager. But just copy him, copy the managers table, paste it in. Make sure as you go, one good way to do it, if you get in the habit of saving every time you update these, or you can close it to confirm that you've saved everything. I'll show you at the end. Team kits, well yes, we've added some team kits, definitely. Save that. Players, we haven't added any. Team play links, we have added some. So we want to copy them. Team stadium links, yes, we have added one. Stadium assignments, yes, we've added one. Formations, we have. Default team sheets, yes, we have. And default team data, we also did. And we also added a mentality. Which is there. Okay, so what you can do afterwards is close all. So click on close all but this, for example, and then close that. Make sure that everything's saved, because it'll pop up with a do you want to save this file? If you have made a change and have forgot to save it. Go back to the FIFA editor tool, and this button here, import all tables, means that you can just go to the file that you made, tables, this is where all my tables have been saved, and select the folder, and that will import everything that you've updated. Right, so now that's been done, there are a few things that you need to change elsewhere for the competition. Comp data, for example, it's actually not in comp data, it's in a file called internationals. And this is used for things like career mode. Here we go, internationals. Now you've got this tier and objectives file at the top. We need to create, so there's one for each nation. So we need to create a new, copied the wrong thing. We need to create two new lines. So I'm going to copy that bottom line. I'm just going to make a gap here so we can see what's going on. So we have the first number here, if you find 1318, for example, I think that's England from memory. So they're expected. What this is saying is that's the nation ID, that first number. Sorry, that second number. That first number is the type of objectives they have. So if you notice, 1 tends to be win-win. 2 is they're expected to get the final win-win. Some 3 here for semis or quarters. And they're just sort of split out about what they're expected to do. Now I would say, if I do one, so I'm going to just type here so that you can see. Don't do this, but I'm going to just say that one's Brazil and that one's Switzerland. Okay? I'm going to say that Brazil are expected to win. So I'm going to put 1 there. And I'm going to say that Switzerland, I expect them to get to the knockouts or the quarterfinals. I'll explain that in a second. So this first part here, where it says win-win, that references the World Cup. The second is your local Confederation Cup. So, for example, the European Championship. They're expected to qualify. Okay. So the first thing I need is the nation for Brazil, which I know is 54 off memory. I'm going to go back to my workbook just so I can see what ID I gave to them. So for Brazil here, I gave them that 11370. Okay, so that's the team ID. This is the confederation that they belong to. So where you will be able to get that from is in here. Let's have a look. 13183. So the Confederation 3 looks, sorry, yeah, Confederation is 2 there. Confederation 2 is Europe. So this one, UEFA, here for England, for example. So for Brazil, their Confederation is 4. So I'm looking to take 4 and put it there. The next part, I need to copy this win-win-win. There you go. And that's Brazil. So I now get rid of that. And I can cut it and paste it up here. Now I've got another one for Switzerland to do. So this is the nation. So I can get that from the formations builder where we build it. And say it's 47. This one here is the team ID. They belong to the Confederation of Europe, which was 2. And I'm expecting them to be knockout, knockout, knockout. That's what I think they should be aiming for. And then I can get rid of that. And I can put that in there. And that means that when you get the job as the Swiss coach or the Brazilian coach, they now have objectives in the game. Okay, so what I'll do now is I'll start up the game and I'll show you what it looks like now with our new teams in the game. Remember, we haven't changed the comp data for career mode yet, so we need to do that on the next episode. So I'm back in the game. Best place to check is if you go to the national squads. You can see I've now got Brazil here. Ignore the language strings because we need to change them. Switzerland, the language string is already in the game. And we've got all the players here. So just go through and make sure that you've got all the players that you're expecting. Nice and easy. And you can obviously make changes to them Here's the player pool. Should make sure that that player pool appears with all the Swiss players to make sure that you've got the nation link correct. I've got the same for Brazil, and we now have 32 teams. So join me in the next episode, and I will show you how we can get it so that that World Cup is expanded so that all 32 teams take part. Okay, thanks for watching.